What happens when you get a real estate executive, a YouTube influencer, determination, and an opportunity to design a product to fulfill a need for Black men's grooming? You get Evan Alexander Grooming. Brandon Patton and Joseph Evans are the founders and CEOs of this amazing brand. In this interview, we talk about their drive and determination of starting this business in their apartments and grooming it into a now multi-million dollar business. This is just me, Lisa B, and my guests today are Brandon Patton and Joseph Evans, founders and CEOs of Evan Alexander Grooming. Welcome to Side Hustle Saturday, Brandon and Joseph. How are you doing today?
Exceptional.
Well, thank you. Well,
Awesome. Thank you for being on the show. It was funny how I found you two. Of course, I was doing my little Instagram stalking and I saw your story on blackbusiness.com and your journey was incredible. But I like to have my guests tell their own narrative of their entrepreneurial journey. So can you tell me, what is Evan Alexander Grooming?
take that B. No, I'm gonna take it. Evan Alexander Grooming. It is the the brainchild of me, Brandon, and I. And first thing that people think about is, who is Evan Alexander? And Evan Alexander is actually a mix between my name and part of Brandon's son's name. Mm-hmm. So it was a mix of the two, if you will. So my last name being Evans, we dropped the S to do Evan, and then Alexander is Brandon's son's middle name. So we thought of Evan Alexander Grooming as a way to get into this space. Who is Evan Alexander? We are a product grooming company. We manufacture and sell all natural skin products, mm-hmm. hair products, beard products. We have supplements ranging from turmeric to the colon cleanse, to ashwagandha, which is a stress adaptogen. We are a brand that is huge on social media, influence and content, education. We want our men to look good and feel unstoppable.
What was that aha moment? Because, they have, the beauty industry is saturated for products for women. You can turn every corner or go in any corner of the drugstore or department store and you see products for women. What was that aha moment to think of, we should do a line for men?
Well, we had a lot of market research prior to. The Black Men's Beard was a community that was built, and that was pretty much where you got a lot of market research, and we were able to have a platform called Black Men's Grooming Den, and this platform can serve as a marketplace for small to mid-size Black-owned businesses that were serving men in the grooming space. So for us, we had we were just in a really great position to be able to build a community, and in that community, they began to share what they want and what their needs were. Yeah. And a lot of that was like, hey, we're looking for these particular type of products. You're talking about these types of products and how this would improve our beard, our skin, and so on and so forth. But where can we find these? And that's where the marketplace was birthed. And then from there, it rolled into Evan Alexander.
I think that's incredible how you took what your community needs were and kind of like morphed it into an idea or now a booming business. So that is incredible how you kind of like tapped into your base to let them, they told you basically, we need this. Can you deliver? So incredible. Joseph, I was reading that before you stepped into the role of entrepreneur, you were a real estate executive. And then when the business started to take off, you left your job to be 100% committed to Evan Alexander Grooming. Can you talk to me about what that experience was like, leaving your job to start your own entrepreneurial journey?
It was definitely, it was a scary journey. But I think what people don't tell you is the grieving that you have to do of who you thought you were going to be. And that was something that really affected me, because ever since high school, I knew I wanted to work in commercial real estate. I knew I wanted to build buildings. I wanted to do retail. I wanted to do housing, apartments, hotels, all of these things, right? And as I got older, I got more focused, and I was focused on the apartment segment, if you will. But leaving that, it was scary, because you go from being an expert to something to not.
Yeah.
And I think that affects your ego, it affects your confidence, it affects everything. But it was at a space where we were so busy, things were taking off. It was just physically not possible to do both at the same time. And that's when, things start going bad. Like, to be honest with you, because you're trying to manage your career and business stuff. So literally, you're up in the morning, you're up every day, like by 7. And then my job was intense. So then I'm 7, and then I might come home at 8, 9 o'clock at night, and then I'm still working into the early morning hours and doing it over again and again and again. And it was so much, and it was exhausting, but it was still beauty in the process, right? Because you're creating something, and that's the difference. We're creating something that birthed out of our ideas. So like, on this other hand, I was creating somebody else's dream and working in their dream and making them millions. And then on this side, it's like, okay, how do we do the same for us? And being able to make that shift, it was life-changing. Even from a stress level, the stress is different, because I was definitely stressed in my last job. I'm still stressed, I'm not gonna lie.
Right.
But being able to create the environment, the change that you wish to see, it's inspiring. And then looking at the change that we've had on other people's lives. And I say that because, a lot of times we don't give people their flowers while they're still living, if you will.
Right.
And one of my friends said, because you left your job, you inspired me to do this. And he started a health clinic. He's not a doctor, but he started a health clinic, right? And I would have never known that if he not have said that. But that just shows you the impact that the move that Brandon and I made, how that impacted so many other people. And I guarantee you there's several other stories just like that.
Yeah.
Just because they've been able to see our journey, if you will.
Yeah, I'm currently in that boat. I work a 9 to 5, and then I work a 5 to midnight, which is my side hustle, which is this. And it's, people are like, just quit and just do this. But to me, it's that, I've been working in corporate America so long. It's that comfort, like, I don't want to let that go, because I know that's a check that's going to come through, and that's guaranteed.
The security.
It's a security blanket, right? And so if I leave my security, then I'm gonna really have to hustle to kind of like feel secure in my side hustle. So it's like a mental thing. I'm passionate about this, but it's like I'm still holding on to the guarantee. And it's really not a guarantee, because they can let you go just like that, right? And so, you're holding on to that false sense of security to like make that leap into entrepreneurism. So it's a mental thing. I think you definitely have to have a plan. I'm not saying, you should quit your job right now and be an entrepreneur, because you don't want to be out here broke. But you definitely should have a plan, a financial plan, especially when you go to start your own destiny or your own journey of becoming an entrepreneur. And I don't think people talk about that, or they don't think about it. They just see the all the glamorous stuff and like, I'm gonna be my own boss. They don't get into the messy details of, yeah, you can do that, but you got to be prepared. It's not that.
Can I speak to that for a moment?
Sure.
So even when before I left my job, I actually took I had been saving money. So I've been saving. I was actually saving for a house, to buy a house, and then I realized that I didn't want to be a drain on the business financially, me transitioning into a full-time role.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people don't think about that, because now you're draining from the company, right? Like, you have a 4X or 5X return on your marketing, and you're giving yourself $5,000 a month. You're missing on $15,000, or with a 5X, you're missing out on $25,000 of other income that you could have made with that same amount of money.
Yeah.
So using my money from my house and living off that for a year before depending on that of the company. And I think that's what allowed us and put us to a space where we could really grow and you're not focused just on money. You're not focused on living.
Yeah.
And when I left my job, I told myself, I said, I have a year. I'm gonna give myself a year. If I'm able to do something great within this year, I'm gonna stay on it and stay with it. But if we can't become profitable within this year, I'm gonna go back to work. Mm-hmm. Because that security and that sense of fear, if you will. Yeah. And I haven't been back yet. So I'm glad that we were able to make that initial jump. And even from a perspective of time, right? My business partner was full time in the business. So that means there's clearly a discrepancy in the amount of work that he's giving versus what I'm adding to the business too.
Right,
and
right.
You want to protect that too. You want to be honest about that. And that's what it was. He was putting way more into the business than I could at that time. And you have to acknowledge that other person that's working with you as well. And I think that's something that I didn't acknowledge in that space. And I see that now in retrospect, that he was giving more into the business than I could at that time. And then when I was 100%, and then that's when things level out, if you will.
Yeah.
Then we're back on equal footing.
Yeah. That's good to know. So that's something that, on your, and like I said, I don't hear anybody talking about that. Like, how are you going to make your money? How are you going to have that cush that's going to replace your income that's guaranteed? So thank you for sharing that and piggybacking off of what I said. Brandon, we're going to get into you next. So you were, and you still are, a YouTube influencer. I've seen your YouTube videos. They're amazing. How has YouTube helped you grow and evolve your brand?
Yeah, it helped because we were able to establish a community of guys who eventually became our target market, if you will, and eventually became the reason why we are creating the products that we are creating. So it definitely helped a lot. It helped to get in front of more people that you typically probably wouldn't be able to get in front of. And so that helped to go into other platforms. So starting off on YouTube and then getting into Instagram. And when people are seeing you, putting a lot of energy and effort into building a community and providing as much value you can to your community, word gets around. And then also that builds relationships, that builds trust. And when you do have a product or a service or whatever the case may be, people are going to be more inclined. If they don't participate, they'll be more inclined to listen to you or even share your information. If it doesn't apply to them, they'll share it with someone else.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like people can connect with you more? Like they know you before you put out a product cold, they don't see the face or anything, but if they know like, okay, oh yeah, this is the guy that does the YouTube, he's coming out with a product, I'm gonna support him because they are able to make that connection with you. Do you feel that that's what happened?
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely a connection. And to this day, you have people who it's interesting. I was at a brunch not too long ago, a couple of weeks ago, and a guy, he came up to me. He's like, "Hey, I've been watching you since high school."
Wow.
And so, I mean, this guy, he's out of high school. He's well out of high school at this point. But you make those connections, and people that it's more people that know you than you know them. I had a situation happened to me last weekend. Same thing. A guy, he saw me and he ended up, coming to me and, sharing his how grateful he was for the channel and what we've been doing. So yeah, you see it. You see that you make these very deep, everlasting connections with people where it's not so much about the product. At that point, it's just about, hey, you know what? I've been able to elevate my life, improve my life. There's value that has been added. Some of these individuals have children, have sons of their own, so they're able to pass down the same information that we've been sharing with them to their generation. So it's pretty awesome to see the legacy.
Yeah, and the main part of that is that you built the community. You have a go-to place for people to tap into. So kudos on that. I just see so many brands out here that, they don't have that sense of community. They're like, here's the product, here's the About Us page, and then they keep it pushing. But when you build that sense of community as, we're in this together, I think that speaks volumes to you as a brand, number one. And then number two, people will rock with you. You know what I mean? If they support you, you get people that are so loyal. And like you said, you get that word of mouth, you know, hey, I'm growing a beard. Well, not me, but you know, you know, there's that barbershop talk. And it's helped me. You should watch it too. And that's how you start, you know, that word of mouth and you build a community. So, you know, kudos to you on doing that. I don't think as Black businesses, we really tap into that. We're on Instagram all day long and we're doing those TikTok videos, but we really don't tap into the power of YouTube enough to really focus on building that brand. So kudos to you. You're doing something different out there. I really love that.
Thank you.
So when you started your company, I have read that, you know, you have brought in a team of people to help you build your brand and market your company. Can you talk to me how important that was in building your company?
No, you take it.
Okay. So part of that is when we've had to establish a team, realizing that we are limited in what we can do in terms of how many emails we can respond to, how much product we can develop, everything. So we quickly realized that it was way too much work and not enough of us. So even early on in this journey, mind you, we were working out of our house, right out of our apartment. So we had an entire team. We had a team of like 6 people working out of our apartment. And it was absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. We had the videographer, we had a photographer / editor, we had customer service person, we had another social media person, and it just goes on and on. So it's so important to actually build a team around you. And in a space where we really couldn't afford to hire experts, that means we have to develop our people.
Yeah.
So that means if you're hiring probably younger people are in a space where they're maybe looking for an internship, things of that nature, but you know that you're gonna have to put more time and effort in actually developing them. So we spent a lot of time and effort with developing our team around us. Even from an expert standpoint, bringing in people who specialize in ads, like running ads on Facebook and Instagram, bringing in people who specialize in sending out emails and SMS and things of that nature, knowing that we are not the experts. So we have to hire people who are better than us. Yeah. And I think that's what allowed us to grow at the rate in which we did early on.
Yeah, you know, as an entrepreneur, you wear a lot of hats. You're HR, you're the graphic designer, you're the marketer, you're the digital person. And so that's really key, like you said, is to bring in a team to help, you know, build and support your empire of what you're building. You know, what were some of the challenges you faced while you were building your company and building your team?
Oh, there were a lot. So even like in the last 2 years, I think about COVID for one. COVID disrupted the entire supply chain system across the world. So this means that bottles, caps, things of that nature, raw materials that go into our products are no longer as readily available as they once were. So we started running into issues with actually finding our bottles and realizing that we don't have bottles to sell our product. We had to get a replacement. We had to find something else. And literally, a bottle may not have been on brand to how we normally market our product, but it's just what we had because we had to still sell product. We had to stay in business. We had to adapt. We had to pivot, if you will. There's struggles with finding employees, finding people who are as dedicated to our vision, have the skill set that we need. That's probably like one of the hardest factors to do because you have to develop and manage people. And it's tough to develop and manage when you're already wearing 20 other hats. So and I know that's something that I've definitely struggled with. But I think that one of our more newer hires was like our chief of staff is absolutely phenomenal because he was able to bring in some of that expertise as it relates to developing standard operating procedures for everything. So now when you come in, you know the position that you work, you have all your job, you know how to do your job. It literally tells you how to do everything a part of your job by looking through this notebook that we essentially put together. But being able to develop those type of systems, because the systems would allow you to grow. It allows you to scale because now I can hire anybody, give them this book, and they can refer to that so they can know how to do their job. But other problems, not having enough equipment, not having the right equipment to do everything that we needed. Like mind you, we started in the house. So literally we're cooking, we're melting down coconut oil, shea butter on the stove. So, and then literally that that means I can't cook, right? So now we have to order food. So we're spending
Right.
more money on Uber Eats and things of that nature. And like literally having a crew working out of our home. So like there's no level of privacy, there's nothing. And then we gave them keys so they would be waiting on us to get in, like because we work late in the night. So if they're coming in at 8:30, like they'll be knocking on the door waiting for us to open. So we gave them keys. So literally people being in your house when you wake up in the morning. It's very awkward. It's an interesting dynamic, if you will, but I'm definitely grateful for it. But I mean, it's been a lot of problems, a growth in terms of like liquidity from a cash standpoint, not having the amount of cash that you need to get everything done.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for some of the opportunities we were able to do, like with the EILD loan, the emergency disaster, EDIL loan, through the federal government, things like that through COVID that allowed us to grow. Having the cash and having the money to do everything that you need, because you have so many ideas, but you don't have the resources.
Exactly. Right.
And that, that holds you back when you're in this space of being like a creator, or creating and thinking of ideas, and you can't enact those ideas. It's so frustrating, right? But it's a part of the process. And then that's when now we have things more in order, where we have the proper people in place to help us. Now it's actually developing that plan, that strategy plan, if you will, having that strategy retreat, if you will, so we can adjust the concerns. And it will be done to highlight some of the concerns of our employees. We did internal SWOT analysis for every department. So a SWOT analysis is comprised of the strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats of the organization. So understanding that, letting the employees list the strengths, then what they see as weaknesses, what they see as opportunities and threats, and then you can come back and align it and see with them and see, okay, what makes sense with where we want to go, what items can we tackle, and then that's another space that we're in now, is developing that. So you're saying, how do we attack with these things? How do we put them in order? What's the most important? What's actually feasible right now? What's feasible 3 years from now? Things of that nature. So it's been challenging growing the business, but we're definitely in a good space. I think there's a lot of opportunity for us right now, and there's this so much opportunity out there. There's no reason why we can't tap on and expand our market, if you will.
Yeah. That, I want to touch on something you talked about when you were talking about, you have all these ideas and, and the cash flow. And I think sometimes that holds entrepreneurs back. I think, I can't be an entrepreneur because I don't have this. I can't do this because I don't have this money. Did that kind of hold you back, or what's your thought on that? I think sometimes we're in like a poverty mindset. I was talking to somebody about that they were an entrepreneur, but they were still in that poverty mindset because they see these people. What they see is these successful people, and they're out here really doing it, but they don't understand the whole background of what goes into it and the finances. So, they get a little bit scared, or they don't want to do it because they don't have the money, because they're still on the struggle bus, as I say. So, how did you overcome that? You wanted to do all these things, but maybe the money didn't prohibit that, but you still wanted to do all those things. How did you work through that?
I think part of it is you never have enough, to be honest with you. You never have enough money to get all the goals, do everything you want to do. It's working with what you have.
Yeah.
To be quite frank, and you can get, like, as you continue to grow, like there's other loan products out there that you can qualify for. It's like even like maybe a Shopify loan. It may not be ideal from the repayment terms, because you may have to repay 15% of whatever you make per month towards that loan, but it allows you to get that cash for that inventory that you need.
Yeah.
So it's give and take. So you're giving up that liquidity that you want. Because if it was a regular loan, right, you might be paying a rate of like 6%.
Yeah.
But you're putting up 15% of your revenue. That's not interest though, however. The interest is still reasonable. I'll be clear about that. However, the repayment terms is what kills you, because now I'm giving away 15% of my income to repay this loan. And they're all short-term loans. So you might pay it back in 4 or 5 months. But I think that there's always issues when it comes to like having enough capital. Not always, but in certain examples. I mean, I would love to drop 10 new products right now. Can I do it? No. by any means. And then one, I don't have the capacity to do it. We don't have enough people internal to do it, nor the cash to do it. Right? Because like you have to have the marketing budget, you have to have money to do the photo shoots for products, you have to have money to send out stuff to influencers, to get the user generated content. It's just so many different levels to it. And it can be a struggle. But I think the most important is to just push back and just do as much as you can with what you have. And I think that a lot of times people can make excuses. I don't have enough money. I don't have this. But when this business first started, we were starting on a drop shipping, from a drop shipping standpoint. So that was basically other people. We were putting their products on our site, and then we got a percentage from the sale.
Oh, wow.
So we didn't actually have the product on hand. So that wasn't cash to be had. Your commission rate isn't as good by any means. And then we transitioned into a wholesale model where we were then buying all the goods, because then you get them at like a 50% rate or more, the discount, if you will. So then now our profit margins are run up dramatically.
Yeah.
And then launching the Evan Alexander product. That's how we did it. So I mean, you can use the excuse you don't have money, because it definitely does take money. Because you have to get this website. You have to, you have to have these different apps and tools that tie into things. But money isn't the end all be all. You can make it with some of with spending a de minimis amount of money, if you will. But it's just a matter of you being focused, you being intentional, you planning, and you seeing and being consistent in your efforts, if you will.
So tell me, this is for both of you. What have you learned about yourself on your entrepreneurial journey?
Oh, you want me to go first, bro? B? Okay, what I've learned. So we have an executive coach, one thing, and I think that it's invaluable, right? Because you're like a relationship that you have with your business partner is just like any other relationship you have in life. You have to foster that relationship.
Yeah.
So what I've learned about myself is I learned I can be abrasive. I can be very straightforward. I mean, just being clear, but I know myself. I can be very straightforward. I can be I'm analytical, and then realizing that, okay, that sometimes things don't require you to go into the granular level of things, and how that can hold you back. Like, I don't need to worry about every single detail, right? That doesn't matter, especially at this point. Like, somebody else can handle that. I've learned that I have a lot of patience. I've learned that there's always opportunity to grow.
Yeah.
That we are always in a space and always in a season of development, right? Nobody's perfect by any means. I've definitely learned patience as it relates to working with people, like employees, things of that nature, and having that understanding of what some people are capable of and what some other people are capable of, and understanding that and being okay with that as well. I can't expect for you to act or respond in a certain way because that's what I want, right? It doesn't work like that. You think differently from me. So getting that sense of understanding, but knowing that we can be resilient, we can push through when adversity comes, when things are tough, knowing that you are enough, that you are strong enough, you are intelligent enough, that you are smart enough to push through and figure out how to get out of this situation. It's definitely it can be a confidence builder, because you're realizing what you can and what you have accomplished. It's been a journey. It's been a journey by all means.
What about you, Brandon? What have you learned about yourself?
I've been doing entrepreneurship for quite some time, and every time has always been a different experience for me. The space that we're in now is a very different experience that I haven't experienced before. So for me, I think that it's just knowing that, for me, I know that I'm a very focused individual. And what I mean by that is that I know that I'm really great when I'm able to focus on one thing. And when I don't, if I have, you had alluded to wearing many hats, it doesn't serve me, and it never served me. And if it doesn't serve me, then I'm unable to serve people. So that's something that I've learned, is that no, you can't. You know, we live in a world that that communicates this ideal that we should be doing 80 things at the same time.
Yeah.
And there's moments and times when that may be the case, where if you're just starting your business, yeah, you're gonna have to do several things. But you know, but at the end of the day, I think that's one thing that I've learned is be like, hey, like when you focus on something, you can accomplish you can get a lot further versus if you focus on a whole bunch of things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, I think that also I've learned and still learning is that, I grew up in a space where people communicated violently.
Mm.
And so that developed some internal things within me.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, I also learned that I communicated violently, and violently doesn't mean that, you are threatening someone's life,
Right.
Not in the violence of knives and, the things when we think of violent, we go extreme. No,
Right.
You can speak to somebody very subtle in a very violent way,
Mm-hmm.
but you may not understand and know that you can make somebody feel guilty for things.
Mm-hmm.
You can be shaming people unbeknownst to you. You don't know it. That's the language that you're using, but that's the language. That's people are feeling that. And so these are things that I constantly, learn about myself in terms of the communication part of it,
Mm-hmm.
And even the communication with yourself. How you communicating with yourself? What do you say to yourself all the time? And then what do you say to people because you're shaming yourself, or you feel guilty and things of this nature?
Mm-hmm.
So those are things that I began to learn more and more, because you're dealing with people every single day. You have a team that you're interfacing with, business partner that you're interfacing with every single day. So you begin to learn more and more. Before it was just me. I didn't have to interface with a whole bunch of people. It was just me and the community, and that was it. Another thing that I would say is that, and it's not something that I learned now. This is something that I learned in pursuit of this, is that, it's not about the money. That doesn't motivate me personally. And everybody has their own motivations.
Right.
Some people, that is a great incentive, but for me, that's not an incentive. It's great, but those are certain things you learn. You start to learn more. Like, you know what? Actually, that's not actually the best incentive for me. I need to figure out what incentivizes me, and what incentivizes me is new things. And being able to, and that's where YouTube comes into play, because I'm able to do new things all the time. I'm able to share what I've learned all the time. I'm able to interface with people all the time, new people. So that's something that was always, because I wasn't getting, I wasn't getting paid off of YouTube.
Right.
It was all just, I was so inspired to be able to share. Oh, this is something new. It's kind of like a kid who's coming to bring the toy. Look, this is the toy I got, guys. I want to show it. I want to share this experience with you.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, that's, those are some of the things that I've learned along the way. I want to actually go back and also answer the question you talked about, when people are in pursuit, or they want to try and get into the entrepreneurship space. And they may use, hey, I don't have any money, or, there's all these particular barriers or reasons why they cannot do the things that they desire to do. We started this, it was $200, literally $200 to start. It's $100 for Shopify, I believe. It's like $100. And then, as Joe alluded to, you have different apps and things of that nature. So that's pretty much how it started. And you just got to get creative, because the money wasn't there, didn't have an angel investor. Excuse me, I've been up since like 2 or 3 this morning, so my mind is kind of fogged.
Keep talking. It's good.
So you you don't have these particular things. So you have to get creative. You have to be creative in your mind. So at the time, it's like, well, don't have $100,000, don't have a $200,000 investment, don't have $1 million, don't even have a $2,000 investment.
Right.
Right. So it's like, okay, what's the best thing? What could you do? Well, you can leverage the community that you built by way of creating a marketplace. And then you can go and build a bridge, and then you can go out and reach out to these different brands and say, hey, come to my marketplace. I'll sell your product. I have a community, and I'll be the bridge between the two. And you give up a lot of commission. You give a lot of your margin, or what you're making off of each. But I think what happens is that, for me, I was in a space where I'm like, I already know what the end game looks like.
Yeah.
In my mind, I already know that, hey, I may give up a lot here, but I know I'm gonna gain so much on the back end, the front end, and that's what a lot of, because I would, negotiating with these different brands, it's like, hey, you can have 90%, just we keep 10%. Oh, okay, well, I'll take that. What? I don't have to do no work. I don't have to do any of those things. You would do that, and I only have to do is pay you 10%. Yeah, but they don't understand. Hey, we have a community, and now we're setting a precedence where we're building out a store. And the more we build that up, now you can pivot and you can go into your own store and start your own business, because you've been able to build up enough experiences. People who are already coming to your store. And again, only thing you only had to have is $200. That's it, $200. And $200 can take you into building a 6-figure business or a 7-figure business, or, a 5-figure business, whatever your goals and aspirations are. So yeah, the best thing that ever happened is being around other entrepreneurs, people who they've already did it, they've already done it, or they are doing it. And I was immersed. I'm going to, at this time, going to different events for entrepreneurship. I stayed on, when they would do the, live events. I stayed on live events online, watching YouTube channels. Like I literally just immerse yourself into the space, and you don't have any other room for anything else. No other voices can get in, because once you're in a whole different space, that's your reality at that point in time. Right. So it's no longer what I can't do. It's how am I going to do it? And then once you ask that question, how can I do this? Then if you're in that space, then those things begin to reveal itself to you. And then you begin to have a lot more confidence and more certainty in terms of you starting that business.
You better drop them gems. I need a gem button, and it just like trickles, gems just fall down from the sky every time. So, every time somebody says something prophetic, I just need a gem button. It's just like that. That is so true. And what you said, I mean, I'm living that now. Like, I don't have this money, but I'm gonna make it work. I'm gonna do something, and because I know what my end state is going to be, I'm going to make it happen. And then again, what you said about immersing yourself, I can't tell you how many times, I've been up till 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and my eyes are wide open because I'm either working on something, I'm doing this, or I'm watching a YouTube video, but my drive is my passion. I'm not, I'll monetize and get the money. But, what you said is so, so true. So thank you so much for sharing that. So tell me, what is next for Evan Alexander Grooming?
Well, Joe, you want to take this or?
Sure. So what's next? Definitely, we would love the opportunity to be into retail stores, expanding the product lines, definitely getting in front of more people, but putting more people, letting more people figure out who we are, becoming that real household name, if you will. There's so much opportunity for us to expand, so much world out there that we just have yet to see, and we want to just continue building on the brand.
Yeah, I want to see y'all in Target and Walmart and Macy's. I want to see all that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I'm gonna pivot. All right. Y'all both have to answer this question. What was your first side hustle?
Oh man, I sold candy Candy and CDs in school. I'm dating myself with the CDs, but I definitely was selling CDs in school and candy.
Yeah, nah, same here. I did CD. I mean, excuse me, not CDs, but candy.
You did candy.
Yeah, yep, candy. Yep.
But even before that though, you had a paper route too, didn't you?
Yeah, well, I had a paper route and I was selling candy at the
Oh, you
same
was just
time.
bossing it up back then.
There
Okay,
you
my
are.
bad. My bad.
No, that was my mother. She was very passionate about us having other, ways to create some type of income, or at least understand that process and what that means in the real world. So
I want to thank you. I know y'all are busy. I know you two are busy building y'all's empire and everything, but thank you so much for taking the time to come on and talk to me about your entrepreneurial journey. And I really, really appreciate it.
absolutely. Thank you for having us.
So can you tell the Side Hustle Saturday, how can they find you on these social media highways and byways?
Yeah, they can find us on Instagram, Evan Alexander Grooming, Facebook, Evan Alexander Grooming. You want to go to the YouTube channel, Black Men's Beard. And also you want to go to the website. That's www.evanalexandergrooming.com, www.evanalexandergrooming.com.
And as for me, Side Hustle Saturday community, y'all know where y'all can find me. You can find me on Side Hustle _Saturday on Instagram and on Facebook. You can find me at Side Hustle Main Hustle. And I'm on YouTube. Click that subscribe button on YouTube. I'm on YouTube at Side Hustle Saturday Hustle Talks. Again, Brandon and Joseph, thank you so much for being on the show today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Side Hustle Saturday community, I will talk to you soon.